What's going on, everyone? The market took an absolute beating today. In today's video, we're going to go over exactly what's happening in the market right now, the 5-year streak that was just broken, and how one trader turned $22,000 from yesterday into about $10 million today. We have a lot to talk about. The market is heating up at a pace that we have not seen in a while, so you better watch to the end today. We have a lot to cover, but with that being said, Tom, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, Mike, we've been talking about these big support levels coming up on a ton of stocks, whether you're talking about Meta or AMD or Microsoft or Apple. And look at what happened today. Meta gapped down under $300 in pre-market, and then we came up, tested 300, ran lower. AMD's another one, gapped below 100 this morning, very early when pre-market just opened, and ended up closing at 96 today. It was one of the bigger sell-offs that we've seen in a long time. Just look at the SPY right here. This almost looks like Rivian whenever it was coming down on its bad streak there. But man, it was a crazy day in the market, Mike. And like you mentioned, that streak of not having a negative 1.5% drop since 2018 has been broken. We talked about it, that the market was due, and it's been a long streak, 100+ sessions, and it finally ended for us.
We literally talked about this yesterday. Like this streak that we had going on in the market was going on for some time, and the streak of no 1.5% drop was not that long since 2018, but the streak is just restarting now as the market was down 1.65% today. So that goes to show you right there that what we're starting to see is pretty rare, and it's also pretty serious. And while we're on this topic, I want to talk about something very important coming up. There are periods in the market where it seems like everything's all sunshine and rainbows, and almost everything you touch turns to gold. That's when you see a lot of stocks, doubling or, reaching stupid valuations. But every now and then, things get hard and stocks start falling. And by the looks of it right now, and clearly just looking at the market, things are showing some pretty bad signs. So going into the market, at least for retail traders especially, during times of increased volatility, which is exactly what we're heading into, are some of the best times and some of the best opportunities in the market that retail traders get. But I'm also going to say this. It's not going to be easy. When we enter periods of increased volatility, sometimes you're going to get faked out pretty hard. Sometimes you're going to look at the market and say, what the hell is going on? But as long as you acknowledge that and understand that the market's going to be crazy, I promise you there's a whole lot of opportunity on the way. But with everything being said, Tom, I'm pretty excited because volatility increasing is a good thing.
Yeah, it really is. And I know a lot of those stocks that follow volatility, like UVXY, like Mike, you've been hitting on this thing every single night. I know it didn't necessarily go up like from open like all day long. It had a dip there midday, but man, if you've been swinging this thing for the past few days or just, buying it at open and holding it throughout the day, man, up 11% there from yesterday at market close. That is an insane jump. SQQQ, which goes against the NASDAQ, is up 5.7%. SPXS is up 5%. And I saw some insane options movement out of these stocks here, just along even with puts, because Mike, like you keep saying, the market generally goes up historically. So whenever you start to get these big downtrends here, those put valuations start exploding through the roof, and that implied volatility starts getting insane. And that's kind of what we're seeing with all of these stocks as they're falling down. That volatility just keeps heating up and up, and man, these rejections below these supports, like you said, are creating some great opportunities in the short term for retail traders. And over the long term, it'll be great. We can still buy into shares for the longer term, but in the short term, you definitely have to kind of look to the downside here.
One thing I especially want to touch on is the time of the year that we're in. Basically, we've been saying all month long that September is the worst month for the stock market, but even more specifically, the next 7 days or so are especially a bad time of the year for the market, going all the way back to 1950. But there's also something very interesting to look at related to VIX, or the volatility index. That red line you could see right there shows where we are right now, and the blue line shows, the average VIX, historically speaking, and we're heading into a part of the year where VIX tends to go up. And guess what happens when the VIX goes up? That means panics in the markets. It means a lot of times the market's falling, and it means that volatility is literally increasing, and volatility expectations are on the rise, so options premiums are rising, and that's a good thing. But the main thing to take away from it is the type of volatility, the type of movement that we've seen over the past week or so is here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. So just keep that in mind going forward. The craziness isn't stopping anytime soon, and that's a good thing. Just be prepared for it.
Yeah, and Powell definitely didn't help us this week. He did not put on his hero cape this time. I'll say that. He definitely went the opposite direction, but I'm with you, Mike. I mean, there's so many downside opportunities here in the short term, and seeing the VIX is just one of those charts that really blows your mind too, with how low VIX got over the past 6 months or so, because a lot of people thought the economy was doing pretty bad, but the market kept going higher and higher and higher, and I think now it's starting to finally give, and the VIX is getting back up to those levels that we're more used to seeing it at, like 18 to 20 to 25. It's pretty rare to see VIX down around 13 or 14. The last time we saw that was right before COVID. So, we haven't been there in a few years at that point.
Exactly. So another thing we just have to talk about right now is the bankruptcy filing data that just keeps on ticking higher and higher and higher, unfortunately. So far, year to date through August, we have seen more bankruptcy filings than the entire year of 2022 and the entire year of 2021, and bankruptcy filings are just ticking higher and higher and higher. So just another sign saying, or showing that the economy is definitely contracting a little bit, and the Federal Reserve is their tightening cycle is having real world effects.
It is. I mean, we're almost to the same point as during COVID, which blew my mind. I mean, I can't believe that through August, we're at that same type of pace right here. And you can see by the end of the year with COVID, it got to 639. I would think that that's doable to get pretty dang close to there at the current pace. And it seems like things are just getting worse. Inflation's starting to uptick again, and I know it's hurting a lot of people out there. So it's definitely bad to see this, Mike. Bankruptcies are one of the biggest things that we're always talked about during any type of economic situation, whether it's the 2000 .com bubble or the 2008 financial crisis or 2020. They play such a big role in the economy, and a lot of these, obviously are big corporations, stuff like that. And then some of these are smaller companies and stuff too, mainly smaller ones. A lot of the bigger ones can withhold a lot of these issues. It's mainly the smaller companies out there.
Yeah, the smaller ones get hit the hardest, and they get hit first. So that's just another thing to keep in mind going forward. But there's one trader out there right now that is doing basically the exact opposite of bankruptcy stuff, and this is one of the craziest trades I think I've seen all year long. Unusual Whales came out with a trade today where someone bought the SPLK 127 strike call options yesterday, and they put around $22,000 into them. Today, that same position is worth about $10 million. $22,000 into $10 million in 1 day. This is absolutely insane. Basically, SPLK had news today where basically Cisco announced that they are acquiring SPLK, which is Splunk, and those options shot up by 45,000%, Tom. This is insane.
Yeah, 45,000%. When I saw that earlier, it blew my mind when I saw it. And we go to SPLK's chart, it's up 20% because obviously of the price that they're buying SPLK at. But man, I mean, that is wild. 40-something thousand percent. It doesn't get much better than that if you're an options trader out there. 22,000 into $10 million. That's got to go down in like history as one of the better trades ever.
Yeah, seriously. I bet the SEC's you're going to look into this, guys. Like, like who did this? I saw some people in the Twitter comments were blaming Pelosi and stuff, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But either way, I mean, that's crazy news. Congrats to that trader, obviously. But, looking at the market right now, we are in for some exciting times. And for those of you who've been watching the videos each day, basically, I will not shut up about UVXY. I've been talking about this stock in, I think, literally every single video this week. And it had a basically 12% update today. Basically, when there's fear and panic and selling pressure into the markets, this rises a lot. And I will continue to watch this to the upside, but I'm not in the camp of like, this has to go up tomorrow. When we're in volatile times, sometimes the market has some of its biggest green days, and in turn, UVXY can dip. But over the next couple days and the next couple weeks, I'm still watching UVXY to the upside.
Yeah, I could see this going up a little bit more, too, over the next few weeks, if not even quite a bit with how this baby moves. 11% today. Oh, wow. I mean, we could have some nice pops coming in. So I love it, Mike. Anything that goes against the market right now is definitely one of the funner trades out there. And, I'm going to go with more of a boring one this time, although it shouldn't be very boring considering that it's this time of the year and with the way the market is. I'm going with Kraft Heinz, okay? They pay a pretty good dividend. It's 4.6% right now, and this stock was up 1.38% today. I'm calling this out because I think it could be a bit more of a safe haven during a bad time in the markets here. It's weakly correlated to the SPY for the most part. It'll kind of move how it wants. It has a decent dividend, and I think it's a decent stock to kind of park some cash in. Now, is it going to be one of those stocks that makes you 500% like UVXY or SQQQ? Definitely not. Hell no. But it's one of those safe havens that should keep your account pretty balanced over the next few months, in my opinion.
Alrighty, and it's nice to look at some of the stocks that, kind of just do whatever they want, like when you are always trading stocks that are super correlated to the market, sometimes that's great, but other times it's not so great. So I'll also keep a close eye on KHC, Tom. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Meta. So we've been talking about this stock quite a bit as well. It's technically below that crucial $300 support level. This is a pretty bearish sign, and when you have the market falling the way it is, it makes it a lot easier for these big tech stocks to also fall. So I will have some very close eyes on Meta to the downside going forward.
Yeah, I love this play, Mike. Meta today even ran up, hit 300, got rejected. This is definitely one of the big watchers for tomorrow. If it stays under 300, I love it because you could have like a nice stop loss or, something like that right there above like at 301, 302, and you could trade this baby down. Now, obviously with the options, you'd have to calculate it out a little bit, but you guys get the point. But with my next play, I'm going with Bank of America, Mike, a bank stock. I know we haven't called these out in a little while, and I go out, I look at the hourly chart on Bank of America. They started to fall below a pretty big trend line recently, having a lot of hits here. And with the higher interest rates and everything like that, I think it's going to hurt the banks. And we've been seeing that in their price over the past couple days. They definitely haven't been moving up at all, that's for sure. But I'll be watching them under $27.90, right around $28. And if we go over to the book map, you can see that $28 supports a pretty big area. There was a lot of buyers there stacked up today, and I think if we get under there tomorrow, it'll be a decent level to watch. Again, it's not going to be something that probably goes up by 500%, but I think it'll be a nice safe play here because this support is awesome. You can use that as a resistance if we break below and maybe put your stop loss around 28.20 or 28.50 if you want.
All right, good stuff. But yeah, speaking of Bookmap, especially in these times, you guys have to try it out, especially if you have not already. It is awesome. In this time where the market is super crazy and it's bouncing all over the place, it is damn helpful to know exactly where buyers and sellers are just sitting there waiting. looking at exactly where the buyers and sellers are shows you hidden support levels and resistance levels that you'd never otherwise see. Bookmap is a great platform, and there's nothing else out there like it. So check out that first link in the description, in the comments down below if you want to try out Bookmap. Definitely use the link down below, though, because you will also save money because there are special discounts applied. You got to try it out, especially in this market. It is awesome. But Tom, it's now time for some more exciting plays for tomorrow. So let's get right into the momentum plays. And with the first one, we have Jeffrey to the downside, Amazon.
Yeah, you scared me for a second. You said Jeffrey, but I'm going to go ahead and make Amazon break under 129, which is right at this low of day here in after hours, just below 130. I was happy to see us break 130 here. If we do keep going down in pre-market, then maybe watch 128.50, but I'll mainly be looking at 129.
All right. The next one, we have Google with an L to the downside, because there's two tickers for that one.
Yeah, Class A, right? Google with an L. So go ahead and make them break below 130. That's funny. They're sitting right around where Amazon is. So if they break 130, then go ahead and watch for those puts. It's just under that low of day. And what I love about that is they actually didn't break the low of day yet. They're actually still right there. So it's a nice breaking point.
Google is like the only major stock that has like two ticker symbols, just to confuse people, I'll say. Like you have GOOG and then GOOGL that are like basically the same thing, but you know, it's just like, come on. Why do you have to make things complicated? But all right, that's my rant for Google. With the next momentum play, we have TLT for both directions. And Tom, this one got punched in the face by Powell this week.
Oh my gosh, I was hoping it would go up, and Powell really screwed us over as far as interest rates go, that's for sure. But yeah, we're all the way down almost to $90 with TLT. Let's zoom out really quick on a daily, because that's actually, we're getting back, since we broke below the recent low now, we're back to lows of 2011 again, which is just, that is pretty wild. So if they break under $90.50 to the downside, then go ahead and watch those puts. We're straddling it in after hours. If it gets back above 91.10, then look at calls. I think there could actually be a pop back up on this, just given how much it's fallen over the past couple days. Jerome
Powell yesterday said, surprise, here's another interest rate hike. And TLT said, what? You know, we weren't expecting this. And, you know, TLT shareholders definitely felt the pain after Powell spoke, to say the least. But either way, it's all over the place right now, so keep a close eye on that upside level for calls for TLT and the downside level for puts. Also, keep a close eye on GOOGL to the downside as well, only if it breaks below that level Tom listed. And then the same thing for Amazon, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But with that being said, Tom, it is now time for the big money $1.7 million trade of the day, and we are looking at ticker symbol ADI. Someone plowed $1.7 million into the ADI 160 strike put options that expire on November 17th of 2023. Looking at ADI, obviously this is a pretty bold trade. It is in the semiconductor industry, and a lot of semiconductor stocks, whether it be AMD or NVIDIA or any stock like that recently, has been struggling all month long. These 160 strike put options are a little bit out of the money. They do have some time to them, and they are definitely riskier than like your average big money trade. But at the same time, if the market keeps moving like it does, or like it is, these puts definitely have some potential. So I will definitely be watching them pretty closely.
Yeah, it's been coming down really hard lately, and I'll say this, ADI has almost a perfect top right around $200 as well, which is awesome. Like NVIDIA recently hit 500, this one's sitting at 200, so it's kind of strange that all these big stocks have hit these big levels lately. Now they're all starting to come back down to the downside like this, more specifically, like you said, those semiconductors. So I like it, Mike. I think it'll be a great play to follow. It doesn't have too much lifetime to it, but it does have a couple months, which I like. That way you're not, having a weekly option or anything like that that's going to get hit by theta too hard. And with the way it's starting to turn over, I could see it definitely going lower. So keep your eyes on ADI. Any of these semiconductor / tech stocks, especially when you zoom out, are insanely overextended. Like ADI has had some insane growth, similar to like AMD in some ways.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But with everything being said, Tom, what we're starting to see in the market right now is something that we've been wanting for a while, and it's completely normal to have times where the market's up and also times where the market's down. And that's just how the market works. More specifically, volatility is increasing, and that's exactly what you should want as a retail trader. This is very beneficial because that's when you see some of the craziest moves in the market. And that's why we're starting to see some, in some cases, 1,000% increases in some of these SPY put options. So basically going forward, it's not going to be easy. Not every single day is going to work in your favor because when volatility is increasing, sometimes crazy things happen and there's nothing you could do about it. But also in these times, there's going to be days where you look at your account and you're like, let's go. So with everything being said, volatility's here and it's here to stay. This is a good thing. Be prepared for it. And yeah, with everything being said, manage your risk as always. Keep your head up high. And I have a good feeling, Tom, that we're in for a pretty good and fun next couple weeks.
Yeah, we are. It's already been starting off fun. Like SQQQ, UVXY's done so well the past few days. I've been swinging some of these. They've been amazing. Shout out to everybody in the premium Discord who's been swinging SQQQ with me. It's been a wild ride as we've went through August and September, but it is paying off now. So good job to everybody. We had a nice first cut. Now we're trading it here again, holding that second half. It's doing very, very well again. Mike, it's such a fun time. This volatility creates such good moves in the options market. I know it's bad for the longer term account, but at the end of the day, keep your heads high. After some time, we'll be able to buy some good companies at some good prices again, and I can't wait for it.
It's a great time to be a trader. Let's go. Also, before we close out, guys, if you're new to the channel, you gotta subscribe. It takes us hours to make these videos, and we cover everything you need to know every single day in the market. We have some great charts that a lot of times you wouldn't have otherwise seen, and basically we just cover all the important things you need to know, and why not join the Stocked Up crew, right? Also, if you want to check out Bookmap, it's awesome to have in this type of market environment, especially if you do want to try it out. You will save if you use our link down below. And besides that, guys, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, Fast Blade Productions on YouTube. Thank you so much for the support. Tom and I really appreciate you. And with that being said, guys, let's end the week on an amazing note.